Welcome back to Maroon Sports Talk. I'm Caleb Wells.
I'm Joey Aguire.
I'm Jenna Evans.
I'm Nick Speer.
All right, let's get into it. So, as we always do, let's start with the gridiron. Nick, what did you think about our latest game against Michigan State, Morehead State?
That'd be pretty wild to play Michigan
know.
State here in Richmond. That'd be pretty wild. Sorry, the weather's got us all out of sorts.
Right.
I thought the game against Morehead State, I know we talked about last episode, just go in there and take care of business, and we did exactly that. And I found it really cool that we went over the defensive players and who we think we should have a breakout game, and we went over those, and both of those players had interceptions. So, I mean, Good for us for predicting that. So, I thought...
We're good at our jobs.
Yeah. I thought the secondary played just an outstanding game. I thought the defensive line got tons of pressure on their QB. I know both of them, and they threw two guys in there, and they both did not reach double-digit completions. So that's pretty great. And I thought Vito Tisdale and Mike Smith Jr., those interceptions were great. So it was pretty great. I think the one with Mike Smith, I saw that he was pulled off the field because they were starting to pull some of their starters. They threw them back on the field, and the very next play he got an interception.
Right.
So I thought it was just a great coaching game all around as well. We haven't shout out the coaching staff. We haven't talked about them recently, but I thought they coached a great game, tons of energy on the sidelines from where I was on the sidelines. So, yeah, I thought it was just an all-around great game. So, you want to talk about a little bit about the offense, too?
Right. I think the offense is a whole other team now that Matt, our starting quarterback, has his confidence. Now that he's able to, establish that rhythm, it's just a different team. And then I think I've said it before, but I just like his ability to spread the wealth, find multiple targets. He doesn't necessarily have, one target that he tends to favor more than others, at least not significantly. We're not seeing, one receiver or tight end, racking up double-digit receptions throughout a game. But I don't know that that's necessarily a bad thing.
No, I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, I like that he's hitting all his targets. It means he's making his reads. He's not just zoning in on whoever on the depth chart is his wide receiver one. He's actually looking for who's open, where can I make the play. I think the offensive line's been a lot better. They're giving him more time. That's what he needs. He's not necessarily he's mobile, but he's not necessarily Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
He's more along the lines of just move around within the pocket and make the throw.
Yeah, and I think we should keep up the explosive plays as well.
I agree.
The 20-plus gains seem to be a common theme. We establish the run game, and then we get the big chunk plays going for Matt as well.
I think that's what they're doing well. I mean, they're not getting behind the chains, and that's what allows them to go for those explosive plays. If they're getting a positive gain, a short 5-yard pass or a nice 5 to 6 yard run on first down, and then they're getting closer to those second and shorts, that's where they can take those shots downfield because they know they still got third down. And a lot of times those second and short, where they're taking a chance, throwing it downfield is working pretty well.
Yeah.
Matt's making his reads. Our receivers are getting open, beating safeties. So that's what you like to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the game against Robert Morris, if they don't cancel it, I know the weather and stuff like that, but I don't think they will. Be heavily, most likely, probably in the rain. Any advice to the athletes that would play in the rain? How do you, if you're going in there, what do you think should happen against Robert Morris this weekend?
I've never actually played football, so I don't know that my advice is that sacred when it comes to this. But at least what I've always heard is just when you're going into a rain game, a game in the weather, ball security.
Yeah.
That's what you got to think about. Because the guys on defense, they're thinking about it. They know that ball's slick, so they're going to take punches at it. And so that's just a big way to, just win the game is just not turn the ball over.
Yeah,
when it comes to the rain, you're going to have a lot less explosive plays. The ball's going to be, slick in Matt's hands. It's going to be slick trying to get it to a receiver. Rain's heavy. It can change the trajectory of the ball if you're lofting it 20, 30 yards down the field. So I think, it's mostly going to be played on the ground in short receptions.
Yeah.
And so I would just say if we can take care of the ball, that's how we're going to stay in the game.
Yeah. Jenna, as being an athlete, what do you think, as preparation goes, what do you think is kind of going on in the coach's mindset and the player's mindsets preparing for just such a heavy rain game coming off this hurricane?
I think everybody knows that anytime you're at an outdoor sport, rain is the last thing you want. So definitely going in, making sure you have the appropriate equipment, rain jackets, all the things for people who are off, trying to stay as dry as possible. It's just because, water can make it slick. I know that turf after the Morehead State game, that turf was slick. We saw people sliding. So making sure that you're just staying as dry as possible and going in with the same mindset you would if it wasn't raining.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think also, I mean, like you said, both of you guys said, just kind of adding on to it, ball security and making sure you have the right equipment. It'll be kind of curious to see if Matt wears gloves this game.
It will be.
I'm very intrigued that he will wear gloves this weekend because he usually doesn't. He's very light on equipment.
Yes.
But I think Jenna said about getting more equipment. I'm interested to see like shirts underneath, more gloves for more players, changing out gloves almost every other single play. So we'll definitely see, like Jenna said, the equipment side of things.
Another thing that's important too is like this. We're still like on the back end of like what has been like summer moving into fall. Like it was still pretty warm outside, like when all this rain has hit us, and it's cooled it down, but it's still pretty humid. So that's another thing to like take into consideration is like they still need to keep like hydrated and stuff like that because like even though it's raining and like it's cooler, like it's still humid and still gonna like zap you of like you're still gonna sweat plenty, lose energy, electrolytes. So you gotta take that into consideration.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll be able to go to more, like, it's been very windy. There's a wind advisory in through Sunday. I wanted to see if we see Patrick Nations at all, maybe on the field, and go to more 2-point conversions this time around too.
Tomorrow they're looking at wind gusts of around 50 to 60 miles an hour.
Yeah,
so that would swipe a football right out of the air.
I don't want to see Patrick Nations kicking on the Eastern bypass, just completely miss that net.
Yeah.
He is an All-American, but you can't change the wind.
I mean, you cannot.
It's
so,
just,
let's hope we're not just decking cars on the Eastern bypass with missed field goals.
Yeah, so that'd be for both teams. Yeah, absolutely. You want to take it away with the next sport we got talking about here?
Of course. So volleyball, again, they've looked great. They're keeping up the streak. They started conference play last night against Austin P.
Yeah, Austin P. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always question how to say the last part, but they looked great. It was another sweep. Again, I talk about it every week, but just the depth of the team, that's what's getting things done. Secondary setter Cooper Abney again led the team in assists over primary setter Emily Hill. That's something you love to see from a freshman. She's going out there, she's killing it. And with those 20 assists, Sarah Mitchell had 18 kills last night and 10 digs for her second or third double-double of the year. She's on fire, just killing it with a .357 hitting percentage. So making the best of those kills and hits. And then second in kills was Maddie Tolzman. She's looked great as well, playing outside hitter. I'm just very encouraged to see how they're playing, especially moving into conference play. I think that's something, I've interviewed a lot of the volleyball players, and that's something they've all talked about, is like they want the conference games more than anything. And that's what they're worried about. Not necessarily worried about, but like that's what they're aiming to do, is win those games.
Yeah, absolutely.
And their next game is going to be up against Lipscomb. I know you did some research on Lipscomb's schedule, so if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of adding on to the Austin P game as well before we move to Lipscomb's schedule. Just dominating in kills. We had 11 more kills. Our hitting percentage was more. We had more assists, tied for aces. The only nitpick, if we're trying to nitpick, just something they can improve on, we got dominated in the blocks. They had 11 blocks, and we only had 3. I don't know if that's like a strategy thing or just how the game played out, but that'd be something to keep an eye on against.
Interesting. I'm looking now. We did only have 4 blocks, which is interesting because Paige Wagers usually averages like 8 blocks by herself. Yeah. So
I mean, it's just something I guess we can just look at. Again, Lipscomb has played, though, talking about Lipscomb moving forward to Lipscomb. This is a brutal non-conference schedule. I mean, just so many teams, Power 4 schools, to name a few: BYU, Georgia Tech, Kansas State, Kansas, and a few others. They had an exhibition game against Tennessee. So they played, I mentioned Illinois as well. They played them last night, took them to 5 sets. It was a Power 4 school. So just really interesting to see. They're 3-8. Not a great record, but we had the same thing last year with men's basketball. We talked about that all the time. We played Alabama and Purdue, who both made the Final Four. So in our non-conference, then we turned it around and won the regular season championship. So it'll be very interesting to see. Iron sharpens iron, we like to say. So very interesting game where we're 10-4, and they have something to prove. They're moving into conference play, and they're playing these brutal away tournaments. So
that's something like you can't just look at record. Like you got to look at strength of schedule. You always got to, because I mean Lipscomb's picked to win the conference, and they have a much worse record than we do because they're playing tougher teams. So like, just because their record is 3-8 and we're 10-4, like that doesn't mean that they're not
really
in this.
good.
They're very in this. Like, I don't know. I would say they still probably have the upper hand based upon the talent on their team. Mm-hmm. I don't doubt that EKU can win this game, though. But
it'll be a very good game to watch. Yeah,
it will be very good.
Yeah. Jenna, any advice to the athletes coming in there? How do you try not to overlook an opponent, and how do you kind of mentally prepare yourself for going up against just such tough opponent? Any advice to these athletes heading into the game this weekend?
I always just like to say you put everyone on the same playing field. You ignore anything that's happened before that game, because sports are sometimes so unpredictable. You can have a great day and then you can have a horrible day. So really just making sure that you don't let your letting the stats overtake the talent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's great advice. Absolutely. Yeah. Joe, you've been kind of quiet, man. Well, moving on from the volleyball court to esports. Anything you want to talk about esports this week?
Yeah, I actually have a lot.
So here we go. Let's go.
Our Valorant Maroon team, which is the A team, they had to reschedule their game, but the white team won 2-0 against Radford University.
Okay, there we go. We just played them in volleyball. So
yeah. I didn't watch that game personally. I did, however, watch our Rainbow Six Siege team.
There you go.
And they have one new player. They are playing against the top 8 teams now in the division.
Wow. There you go.
So they played against Purdue, and last week we were talking about how you make those comebacks and stuff. Mm-hmm. Well, those they can happen like throughout the game itself too, and in individual rounds as well. Mm-hmm. So while on the second map, one of our players, Colvix, he actually ended up getting 4 kills in round 5 of map 2.
There you go.
And map 2 was the closest game. They lost map 1 7-5. And then map 2 went into double overtime.
Wow.
And they lost by 1. I believe it was 8-7. So sucks that they lost, but unlike Purdue, where Purdue only had 2 star players, everyone on our team had their chances where they played well and they made their stand, including Colvix getting that 4 kill, and he's the new person.
That's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty cool that we get to play these like larger universities in like Radford and then Purdue. So it's pretty cool. How does scheduling work? Do you know scheduling at all? If not, it's fine. Do you know how we schedule these games, or?
So, from what I saw on their website for ECAC, there's set scheduled days for each. Each day has a different set of games that are played on those days. All games usually start around 8 Eastern, and then from there, if they get rescheduled. I don't know how that works.
Do you guys have like practices ahead of time? Like, when you were on the team, do you have any practices?
Yeah, we would. Most of us would try to get on probably every night if we could, and just play together and get that working. I know my friend on the Valorant team, my sweet mate, they actually had a scrimmage last night and they won that.
Nice.
So. Yeah, we do practice with esports, and it does come into play where it affects how well you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Moving on from esports to soccer, they have won 2 in a row now. So we were talking about turning around in conference play, and it seems to be that they've just done that. They won at Austin P, 1-0, and then they just knocked off. They had to reschedule they played at Lexington Sporting Club, which is Lexington's minor league soccer. They played at one of their facilities and took down top FGCU, who was top of the conference, 2-1. So it seems to be that the same common theme throughout this podcast lately has been just conference play.
Right.
That can make all the difference in the world. So
absolutely.
they seem to have they've won 2 in a row now. Let's look and see if they build on that success. Their next home game would be this Sunday, the 29th. It'll also be in Lexington at the Sporting Club against Stinson, and they go on the road 2 games after that. So let's see if they can turn it around here and keep it up in the conference play, then try to hopefully make a run to get one of the top seeds in the ASUN Soccer Championship. So, yeah, if you want to take it away next for the next thing that we have to talk about.
Right. So the question for today. Yes. So we're gonna start with Joey. We've got a specific question for you, Joey. So what is your favorite map on a video game?
Okay. Are we talking about competitive play like I've played on the
Anything
team?
really.
Okay.
Give us both.
Okay. So
both. Let's do both. Yeah.
Obviously, for League of Legends, there's only one map that you play on competitively, essentially, and that's Summoner's Rift. So that's my favorite map there. And then just in my free time, I would have to say Dryzen Draka from Black Ops 3 Zombies.
There you go. Caleb, you ever dive into zombies for Call of Duty?
Yeah, so I was a big Black Ops 2 zombie guy.
Okay.
You got a favorite map?
Favorite map? Well, okay, it's so basic, but I think just because of the nostalgia, I think my favorite map of all time, on a video game, it's got to be Black Ops 2, Nuketown.
Yeah.
Nuketown's a good one, yeah, absolutely.
But for zombies, I actually forget the name of it, but you'll have to remind me. It was the one with the farm. Do you remember the farm?
It's literally just called Farm.
Okay.
That one is just called Farm.
Okay.
Because it's still Black Ops 2, right?
Yes, Black Ops 2. Yeah. That one was great because we would we had the best strategy when we were kids and would play it. We would I don't know how well you probably know it better than I do, but when you would spawn in the first barn and you would buy your way out of it, and then there's that house right next to it. We would buy into that house and then never leave that house. We would play the rest of the game from that one house because there was 3 entrances to one room. There was a deck, a window, and then a staircase.
Yeah, you're talking about the upstairs where there's mystery box, and then Jug is right there.
Yeah, so everything you need was right there, and we would always just camp that one room. We would play with 4 of us, put 2 on the stairs, 1 on the window, 1 on the deck, and we would literally just play there till round 13, 14 when we just couldn't last till any longer.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I kind of like Black Ops 3. I think it's kind of a little bit underrated, in my opinion. I thought
it is not underrated.
It's so good. It's just so good. But people are so high on Black Ops 1 and 2.
You could argue that Black Ops 3 is actually overrated.
Overrated? What?
I'm not saying Black Ops 3 is a bad game, but
it's turned into a video game podcast. This episode.
We got passionate.
It has a lot of people there's a lot more people who enjoy it than I think you actually enjoy it.
There you go.
And also, going to what you were saying, I think that we have a different taste in maps because you prefer high rounds. I do Easter egg speedruns.
Nice.
Oh, Easter egg speedruns are crazy. Yeah. Anyways, Jenny, you've been pretty quiet so far during this video game section. What is your favorite video game or map or anything that you've done?
Well, we've talked about this before. I'm an avid Fortnite player.
Yeah.
People are going to hate on me for this, but I really miss the Fortnite map that had the agency. And the sharks would come flying out of the water and scare you. Yeah, where's your
favorite place to land in Fortnite? Where's your go-to? Where we dropping boys? Where are you dropping?
Where are you dropping for duos?
Now or ever?
Just ever.
Ever, yeah.
I always like Classy Courts.
Okay.
It's a nice place.
Is it bad I don't know that one?
Well, Joey, you're
wow, I know something video game related and you don't?
Look,
wow.
I stopped playing Fortnite for years.
Breaking news, Jenna Evans takes over Esports.
I stopped playing Fortnite for years. Just wasn't my thing.
I never stopped.
Tilted Towers.
I started it whenever COVID hit, and I haven't stopped.
Yeah, COVID hit, and you became an avid Esports competitor.
Yes.
There we go.
You should go pro.
All right, kind of.
Join the team, Jenna. Join the Fortnite team. Join the team.
Dual sport athlete.
Dual sport athlete goes crazy.
I've been waiting for them to recruit me.
Jenna getting all that NIL money.
Yeah, from esports and dance.
Exactly.
There we go. All right.
So kind of changing it up. Who is your all's favorite athlete of all time? So we'll start with Nick, and we'll work this way around.
Mm-hmm. Okay, first off, though, Joey, do you have a favorite team when we come to you?
I have a favorite player too.
Okay. We'll move around here. My one, I'm a huge Indiana sports. I gotta say, just Reggie Miller.
Reggie Miller. Nice.
The choke from Game 7 against the Knicks. It was just absolutely perfect. So I gotta go with Reggie Miller for the Indiana Pacers. So if we're talking modern era, it's a tough one. I don't want to go basic. I don't want to say LeBron or Steph, but it's got to be Reggie Miller. Luka's pretty good too. I mean, he is a foul merchant sometimes. Maybe Paul George, throw him in there too. I just love like guards in general. I think are awesome. But
that's not where I thought you were gonna go with Reggie Miller. I was really expecting like a T.Y. Hilton or like because I know you're a big Indianapolis guy.
I mean, like the Pacers. If it was football, I'd say Reggie Miller, T.Y. Hilton. But I wanted to go basketball, like Reggie Miller.
Right.
So
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Generally.
How do you even just pick one? I mean,
that's why I just name dropped like 5.
Okay, so I was raised hardcore Kentucky basketball fan.
Okay.
Bleed blue till you die.
Yeah.
So there was an era of a team. It was Willie Cauley-Stein, Harrison Twins. You know that nice time. So I don't know how you just go with one. I remember that time because I always we named all of our farm animals after that team. So we had the full basketball team of farm animals going. We had 3 beagle dogs, and it was Willie, Cauley, and Stein.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe Willie Cauley-Stein. I mean, he was pretty good.
That's a good answer.
That's pretty good. Yeah,
it's good.
Joe, what about you?
Okay, so my favorite athlete, non-esports, Mike Tyson. I'm a boxing fan. I'm a boxing fan. Mike Tyson, amazing. But for esports, favorite team is going to have to be, this is very bandwagon for League of Legends, but T1, they're a Korean team, and my favorite player is Faker. He is on that team. He's essentially world-renowned in League of Legends, like known for being the best, one of the best players in the game. They actually had a $500 skin released for him, and people actually spent $500 on that skin just to have it.
Yeah, wow.
So
money runs deep in esports. Come on now.
Yeah. All right, I'm a huge Philadelphia Eagles fan. That's my team, ride or die, through and through. And so when I was getting into them, Deshaun Jackson, that was my guy.
Oh wow,
Deshaun Jackson, number 10.
I saw an article the other day. It was like it's crazy. Like both I think Michael Vick, Jalen Hurts, and Nick Foles have all thrown touchdown passes to Deshaun Jackson. Yeah,
that's true.
That's great. That's a crazy. It's a crazy stat. Carson Wentz to throw him in there as well.
His longevity is insane.
Yeah.
He's done now, but when he was in his prime, I mean, he's insane. He holds the NFL record for touchdowns of over 50 yards in a career.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he was electric. He was so much fun to watch. Him and Vic back in the 2012, 2013 kind of era. They were so much fun to watch. That's what got me into the Eagles. So I would say Deshaun Jackson. I'm also a big Kentucky basketball fan, and I'm also a huge Malik Monk fan. Malik Monk at Kentucky.
Malik Monk. Oh man,
so much fun to watch.
He plays for the Kings now, right?
Yes, he does. Him and De'Aaron Fox. But when he was in college, watching him drop like 40 points against, I believe it was UCLA. Was insane. Maybe no, it might have been North Carolina. I think it was North Carolina, but one of those light blue teams. But yeah, he was amazing to watch. He dunks harder than I think any shooting guard in the league should dunk. So he's fun to watch.
It's pretty crazy. So I'm kind of looking here before we head off the air. We were talking about kind of games in the rain against, and then also other teams for like Lipscomb for volleyball and stuff like that. I just last minute thought.
Sure.
I pulled up Robert Morris's last game, and they had 140 rushing yards.
Ooh, okay.
So like total for the team. So I think it'll be very, very, and they also run the ball a lot.
Right.
So I'm glad I kind of pulled this up here. It'll be very interesting to see tomorrow in the rain.
Yeah.
All they do is run.
So they're well prepared.
And they threw like 9 passes total last game. So I think it'll be very interesting to see if we just stack the box and our defense can hold up like they have been the past few games. Could it swing in our favor?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to throw that last minute.
Well, another thing I've always heard too is like when it comes to the rain, the defensive going can just play downhill. Like you don't have to worry about like trying to backtrack. Like when it's raining, it's pouring. Like they're gonna run it, or like their quarterback is gonna be slipping and sliding. So you just play downhill. You just pin them in the box, QB contain, and just come around the edges and hit them down the middle. They can, play, faster, harder on that defensive line with a lot more physicality, not worrying about any sort of like jumping and tipping a pass and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that we can contain that run, and hopefully the past few games our fans have really shown out. So hopefully they can bring some encouragement in the torrential downpour.
Shout out
the
Maroon
hurricane.
platoon.
Yeah, Maroon platoon goes crazy. All right, you want to take us off the air, Caleb, if you want to kind of start out the outro.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us. This has been Maroon Sports Talk.
All right, see you guys later. Thank y'all.
Bye, guys.